Hey, everyone. I am New Jersey Lieutenant Governor Tahesha Way, and you're listening to our first podcast from me and my team at the New Jersey Department of State. Now, this podcast is aimed at helping people get an inside look at the exciting programs and initiatives that we're working on. And today it is my true honor to celebrate Black History Month while we're exploring the New Jersey Black Heritage Trail. Now, this trail was birthed as an idea, growing from a conversation between myself, my Division of Travel and Tourism, and of course, my Historical Commission. We recognize that heritage tourists and Black travelers represented two key growing demographics for our tourism industry. Tourists drive economic development across our state, and we saw an opportunity to drive interest to new and unique locations across the Garden State. Now, people not know this about Lieutenant Governor Way, but I am a history buff. And it is such a blessing that I lead a department that includes the New Jersey's Historical Commission. And specifically during my time in office, I have had the pleasure to speak at or learn from locations across our state where Black people made great history. So for me, why not have an itinerary of as many locations, historic locations, so that visitors, scholars, tourists, and residents alike could learn a little bit about the impact Black people have had on our communities. But the formal establishment of the trail wouldn't have happened without two of our special guests here in Black History Month, and I am excited to have them join us to tell more about how this initiative grew and became a permanent part of New Jersey. Here with me, I have the one and only Assemblyman Antwan McClellan. Since 2020, he has represented his community and others from South Jersey in the New Jersey General Assembly, where he currently serves as Minority Whip. Assemblyman McClellan was lead sponsor in the effort to establish the Black Heritage Trail, formerly under the law. Glad you're here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Always. And of course, we have Noelle Lorraine Williams, who joined the staff of the New Jersey Historical Commission in 2021. She is the mighty director of the African American History Program and the Black Heritage Trail at the New Jersey Historical Commission. Thanks again for joining us, Noelle. Now, I'd love for each of you to share a bit about your own interests in this project. I know I explained mine, but there are multi-partners, multiple sides of all of this. And can you also share your interest in New Jersey's unique Black history? I'm going to start with you, Assemblyman McClellan.
Well, thank you. And, those that can't see me, I am shorter, but I get on a soapbox every now and then. And and within my office, I was saying how we celebrate Black History Month, and it's just 28 days. And then there's Martin Luther King Day. And then now, grateful enough that we have Juneteenth. But prior to, we did not have that. And I was just like, we need to celebrate Black history, 365 in this state. And I learned from my hometown in Ocean City, where we have a Black history section. And then, as I started to travel around the state, I learned about Hinchcliffe Stadium. And then I got to learn about Dr. Still. And I was just wondering why we're not celebrating it throughout the entire year, especially in this state where we have a robust tourism industry. So, just me on my soapbox talking to some of my staff, and they said, well, we can do a trail. And I said, that's a wonderful idea. Let's do a trail. And I had the opportunity to speak to the late Senator, Ron Rice, and then also my now current chairwoman, Shavonda Sumter, Assemblywoman, and just, tossed around the idea, and they thought it was great. So my brothers and sisters in the Legislative Black Caucus joined me in this task to try to create legislation. And, with most elected officials, we just have an idea, but we need great people like your staff and your team to bring it to fruition. So we were able to, take my idea and bring it and make sure it made sense and it was legal and that we could actually accomplish it. So it was a great opportunity, and I thank you to your team and your staff for making it make sense on paper and then bringing it to fruition. But that's just kind of how it started, me, short guy on a soapbox, trying to do some great things.
Well, thank you for that. And, it's so amazing how, again, on our executive side, we sat and we spoke about all the great heritage and history throughout the state. And then on the legislative side, you have truly uplifted it through your travels. And so now we're coming together. And of course, Noelle, we're turning the attention to you. And so can you give the audience, right, from the Historical Commission perspective, what exactly occurred in your thoughts and process?
Great. Well, it's so great to be here with you all. It's the 99th year of celebrating what was once Negro History Week, but that's now Black History Month. So it's just an important time to be a part of. One of the great things about the Department of State and the New Jersey Historical Commission is that it has a solid history of supporting African American history around the state. And so we were very lucky to be charged with the mandate of really developing this program that Assemblyman McClellan nominated from ground to the height of where it will be in the next couple of months. The New Jersey Historical Commission is actually celebrating, we'll be having the 45th year of our Marion Thompson Wright Lecture. It's the longest running African American history conference in the state.
Could you I don't mean to stop you here, because that lecture series is very important. Can you give the audience some color as to what it's really about?
Sure. So the Historical Commission is celebrating the 45th year of the Marion Thompson Wright Conference. We've partnered with Rutgers University, Newark.
Yes.
It was started by my predecessor, Mr. Giles Wright, who was formerly in this position, and Dr. Clement Price, as well as Larry Green and some other folks, to amplify and celebrate with the public African American history. So people every year look forward to this conference because it's not just academic scholars in the universities, and it's not just folks who generally meet with each other all the time, but it's also the public. So you can have someone who's a community worker sitting next to a professor. So in that sense, when the New Jersey Historical Commission had the opportunity to work on this project, we got to see it as a part of our ongoing work of grant making and program and educational work around African American history in the state.
And that also adds to the unique perspective, right, of Black history.
Yes.
So you were speaking about the launch and the timing to all of these formal markers, right?
Yes.
Getting on the ground. And that's where we're going to see the Assemblyman in his soapbox, standing there mightily, right?
Yes.
On the day. So when do we can look for this launch to occur?
So we're looking at June.
Okay.
To put the first batch of these in the ground. It's definitely been a lot of work with the state, but that's what democracy is about. The process has to be open to the public. We wanted community buy-in, and even the bids. They have to be open to the public for fabrication, for all development aspects. So we are just very lucky to be able to serve the New Jersey public and by doing the way we did the Black Heritage Trail, by having buy-in from community organizations rather than telling them that this will be a historic site, we differ from a lot of heritage trails throughout the country and in the state.
How many public hearings were there, Noelle?
We had 3 public hearings, and one in which Assemblyman McClellan was a part of. And so, which was actually, it was very enjoyable. He's a very enjoyable spirit.
Again. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Again, did he have his soapbox? Because I'm not going to let this one go. I am not letting this one go. And speaking of soapboxes, since you were there, can you give us, like, your experience at that public hearing?
It was awesome. And your team was unbelievable as well. And the process that they have, you can't even talk about, because the application process was you have buy-in from the community, but you also have buy-in from them to help them get there. So it's not like you get the application and then good luck and figure it out, and then you get a stamp saying, no, you're not approved. They talk you through the process, and they help you say, well, no, if you can do this instead of that, and we recommend this instead of this. And in that process, it's amazing, because so many people called in and said how nice they are. And me as a legislator, you don't get that, that much about state employees. They're like, well, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. But that's not the case when dealing with you guys. And it's unbelievable, the process.
Because they're at the Department of State.
Because of you.
Because of all the team members.
All team to work together.
It's the way.
It's the way.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, and I appreciate that. Again, it's a blessing to oversee the Department of State with great leaders and great colleagues and my partners. But taking us through, right, the proposed sites, can you each tell me, right, they're all special. We all know that, right? Because Black history is American history.
Yes.
We just want everyone to have, like, a true understanding, right, from all different walks and perspectives of and ethnicities, right, that create the tapestry of New Jersey. But out of all of these sites, which one or two are you most excited that there's going to be a marker for?
I think I know what the Assemblyman is going to say.
I might have 2. So my number 1 is the Harriet Tubman Museum in Cape May. So that's my number 1, and I enjoy the fact that it's there, and then to learn that Harriet Tubman came to Cape May County.
Yes.
And with summer there, so that was exciting. But also, just as a caveat, Hinchcliffe Stadium. And to be there for the rebirth of that, and to hear about it, but to see what it used to look like, to see what it looks like now, and they had that celebration there, and so I'm excited to be able to know that that's a part of that too, because that's a rich history there, and we need to celebrate that as well.
So I would definitely say my top 2 sites, well, besides Hinchcliffe Stadium, and I love Cape May too, even though I've only been there for 10 minutes. I did go on the ferry. So definitely, a lot of these sites are split between what we call visitor-friendly sites and commemorative sites. And so we're really excited that the Department of State allowed us to have these commemorative sites and not just the visitor-friendly sites. Hinchcliffe is definitely one of our burgeoning, like, visitor-friendly, family-friendly, almost world-class destinations due to its proximity to the falls.
Correct.
And its celebration of the Negro Baseball League, and to have one of the few remaining stadiums where people work. And it's just gorgeous.
Yes.
You get to see beautiful images of the baseball players.
Yes.
Effa Manley, the first woman to be given an award with the Baseball League Museum. So I can't say how much I love Hinchcliffe. But definitely my top 2 sites would be T. Thomas Fortune and Red Bank. Just a gorgeous site. Community investment in T. Thomas Fortune's house. He was one of the most well-known Black newspaper editors in the early 20th century. There was actually, I think on the Gilded Age, they featured him. So we're lucky to have his house in Red Bank. But they have done such a gorgeous job with the exhibitions there. They also host schools and community groups there. They have a beautiful gift shop, and it's just an amazing site. The second site, of course, would be the borough of Lawnside. We decided to do a marker for the whole borough because it has so many great commemorative sites, like the Peter Mott House, which welcomes folks. But they do tours, but they also have like the Underground Railroad Camp for youth, and they also have programs. We also have Mount Peace Cemetery, and so that's a great site. And so we're just so lucky to be promoting this history of Black resilience that a lot of folks do not know about in New Jersey.
Yeah, all of those sites that you named, phenomenal, in which visitors, again, scholars, tourists, you name it, they can go reflect and, engage in this history in hopes that, that's what we do with history. We look back, we think about the moments and the human conditions, right? In hopes that we can apply it to our present and future to make life better. Yes. That's what we try to do. So, my final question to both of you, let's say all of the markers, they're now in the ground, everything has crystallized, right? And you've been such staunch advocates of this trail, partners in it. It wouldn't be birthed without you guys. What would you reflect upon and say about this Black Heritage Trail? I'll start with you, Noelle.
I think the most important thing as far as the process of this trail for me would be to show and to see how African Americans in New Jersey have contributed to the democratic process. So whether we see Larry Doby, Negro baseball leagues, these folks who are like in the museum, they talk about how they had to travel on rickety buses. Sometimes they had to put together parts of their uniforms so that they could compete. Like they didn't have full uniforms. These struggles to do what they wanted to do, but to also know about like the Black Brain Trust over there in Fort Monmouth. They're also on the trail. It's a small one-room exhibition, but it highlights these Black scientists who were working down at Fort Monmouth during World War II to, develop and help the Army and the country. And so we get to see these contributions to democracy that we haven't known before. And even though we don't have the markers in the ground yet, we've spent a whole year promoting it in the press. I think we have about 25 or 30 article citations. Yesterday, I gave a talk to 40 to 50 teachers with the Department of Education on how to use the Black Heritage Trail in their work. So we've already started promoting the trail, even without the markers being in the site.
Why, thank you. Assemblyman?
For me, it's just to know, for younger folks to know where we came from. And what we can do, that anything is possible with just small things like to visit the Dr. Still site and to see that, somebody came over in a box, and to actually see that box with holes poked in it, and that they traveled in that box just to get away from slavery and what he became after that, and to see that amount of property that Dr. Still has. And he's a reliable doctor that took care of Black folk because white folk wouldn't do it or were too scared to do it. And we have doctors, we have athletes, we have politicians, we have all that right here in the state of New Jersey. So you don't have to travel to Atlanta, you don't have to travel to Mississippi. It's right here in this state. And our children, if it's in Ocean City, if it's in Newark, if it's in Atlantic City, they can travel to these sites and learn about the rich history of Black folks in New Jersey. And I think that's the most important part, and that's what I wanted to instill, and that's what your team has allowed to happen in this state. And I think it's going to go on for your children and your grandchildren.
Yes.
And they can continue to enjoy that and know that the Lieutenant Governor and her team was a part of that. And making this happen is unbelievable. Understanding your husband's a football player, but you're bigger than that. What you've done, your accomplishment is greater than that. And your children would see that. Don't tell them I said that about you, though.
Okay. Hopefully he's not listening. But, he would have gotten some history, right, from Noelle and talking about the athletes, right, sewing up their own uniforms and putting that together instead of nowadays they were just handed it. But I tell you, this is so exciting. And it's so inspirational to us all. That's what we're trying to do here, regardless of race. It's just about making certain that our future generation knows history, but at the same time, they too can have the same qualities of hard work, perseverance, right? And understanding how to overcome any challenges and bringing people together and thinking innovatively. You were speaking about coming over in a box. Dr. Steele, all he brought. So for more of this information, I thank you both for all of your partnership with this, because we definitely could not have done this without you, Assemblyman, without your hard work at the Historical Commission within the Department of State. And I have to give a shout out to Governor Phil Murphy for signing the law.
Yes, that's true. That was important.
Exactly. So information about the Black Heritage Trail, everyone out there, and please spread the word about this phenomenal initiative, can be found at visitnj.org. And where else, Noelle?
At history.newjersey.gov.
There we go. Now look for some more at nj.gov if you didn't get that. Thanks so much.